guys, welcome back to the Lounge with Bobby D. Today we're watching more of the left eating the left, and this time it's The View that's eating Chuck Schumer. They're upset because he voted with the Republicans a yes on the continuing resolution to continue funding the government. And pay attention to Sunny Hostin. She is not happy at all. Check this out.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's sudden change of heart about the Republican spending bill helped avoid government shutdown, but opened him up to some harsh criticism and questions about his leadership from his own party. And here to tell us why he did it is Chuck Schumer.
Thank you.
He's also the author of the new book, Anti-Semitism in America, A Warning. Please welcome Senator Chuck Schumer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. Why?
Great.
What were you thinking and why?
Okay. So look, I knew it was a difficult choice, and I knew that I'd get a lot of criticism for my choice. But I felt as a leader I had to do it. Here's why. The CR bill was bad, no question. And it allowed a slush fund, which allowed money to be pushed around.
Explain it for the people who don't know what
There's
CR means.
CR means continue the government spending.
Right.
A shutdown, the alternative is cut off the government spending. And here's what would happen if we cut off government spending. It would be devastation like we have never seen.
Worse than we're seeing now?
Much. Here's why. That's why I did it. I wasn't going to take this flack just for having a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is a government shutdown works like this. All government spending is stopped, all. And then the executive branch, Trump, Musk, Doge, and this really evil man people don't know about, Vote, who's head of OMB, his name is Vote.
What's OMB? What does OMB mean?
OMB is the Office of Management Budget, which determines the spending. And they could cut off anything they want simply by saying it's not essential. So, day 2, SNAP, food for poor kids, not essential. Day 4, mass transit, New York City subway and subways all over, not essential. Day 7, Medicaid, not essential. People don't need Medicaid. They should get their own health care. And this would happen over and over and over again, and there's no check. The biggest problem is that it has been determined that the courts have no say.
Yeah.
He's lying here. He's not worried about SNAP or Medicaid or anything like that. What he's worried about is federal judges that wouldn't be able to stop Trump on any level. He knows that Trump would never cut SNAP. He would never cut Medicaid, Social Security, anything like that. They're all essential. Meals on Wheels, essential. But it's the judges that they're worried about. They do not want to cut funding to any of the federal judges or the courts.
The only say is the executive branch. Now, in the old days, when there was a shutdown, they'd work it out. But this is a different, horrible kettle of fish. Mm-hmm. They hate the government. They want to shut down everything. You heard what Musk said, $2 trillion. And so this would have been so devastating. And here's the second part that's maybe just as bad. There's no exit strategy. How do you get out of a shutdown? Guess who determines it? Trump, Musk, Doge. They're the only ones. And one of the Republican senators told one of the Democratic senators, you get in this, we're staying in for 6 months, 9 months, a year till we decimate the entire federal government.
Can I do a follow-up question quickly?
Yes. So wait, it was so bad that I felt I had to do this. Now, it's not happening immediately, but what does a leader do? When you're a leader, if you see a real crisis a little bit down the road, your job is to stand up and say, we cannot do that.
Senator,
and that's what I did.
You mentioned, this is what a leader does. And we were just talking in our last segment about we aren't seeing a clear leader of the party because even though I agree with you with your decision and I see why, but you were only able to get 9 Democrats to go with you. How is that leadership?
Why?
Okay. Look, the bottom line is there were a whole lot of Democrats who were torn. And they, on the one hand, people were clamoring, do something now, do something now. Now, do we have to act and do we have to fight these Republicans, this right-wing group,
the MAGA.
not all Republicans, every step of the way? but do it in the smartest way possible. If you're fighting them and then you end up in this shutdown, let me tell you something. If we ended up a shutdown 3 weeks from now, people would come to me and they'd say, they just cut off my Medicaid. They just got rid of my veterans benefits.
One of their biggest fears is to reopen the government. The Democrats would have to agree to concessions, and that's the one thing they don't want to do. They're the party of resist, resist, resist. And with the Office of Management and Budget, they're the ones that would determine everything that gets paid. So all essential things would be paid. But the Democrats, they knew for a fact that they would have to give concessions, and that's something that they don't want to do because they're the resistance party. And so they would have had to have come to Trump's table to get the government restarted again, and it gives them plenty of time to go through their books and find out what they've really been doing. That's what they're afraid of.
Stop it. And I say, we can't. We're in a shutdown. And then they'd say to me, why did you let the shutdown happen?
Yeah.
So a lot of people responded to the anguish. I appreciate it. I am I wake up 3 in the morning sometimes so worried about the future of the country under these oligarchs or klepto, whatever, or, you know, oligarchs, I guess.
Yes.
And but you've got to find. We are fighting them tooth and nail in every way we can, but you've got to fight them smart. And if you led yourself into a shutdown, which they, by the way, Musk, Doge, Vote, they want a shutdown. They said they wanted a shutdown.
Well,
and they thought we'd play into their hands. This guy Vote, who's head of the Office of Management Budget, has a whole list of what he wants to cut. And the Republican dream, not the Republican dream, the MAGA right-wing Republican dream of decimating the government, you know why they do it? They want tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans.
Right.
They want to destroy government, give all the money to the wealthy, and get rid of any regulations that they might have. So I felt an obligation to stop.
But if you're right, if what you're saying is true, how do you explain the fact that Friday Trump publicly congratulated you for this decision? He said you did the right thing. Yes. He said your decision, quote unquote, took guts and courage. Was he trying to trick you?
Troll me.
He's trolling.
He was trolling me.
That's true.
I know this guy.
It's so confusing.
That's the first time Chuck Schumer's ever told the truth. Yeah, Trump was trolling him.
Troll me.
He's trolling.
He was trolling me. I know this guy.
It's so confusing, though.
Well,
people are reading that.
He's trying to confuse people. He always tries to confuse people. He tries to hide what he does, and by way, that's another. You know, we Democrats are fighting them very hard. And what are we fighting them on? Today, we have a Medicaid Day of Action. Hakeem and I have set this up for the Senate and House. And we have senators and congressmen going to all different parts of their states and districts talking about how bad the Medicaid cut would be and why give tax cuts to take that money away from people, average folks, and give it to the very wealthy. God almighty, these guys are rich enough. God bless them. They don't need more money, but they're so greedy. But wait. So Trump he tries to hide all this. He tries to hide all this about talking about Greenland or changing the name to the Gulf of America. This is another way of him trolling.
Distracting.
Distracting.
Yes.
Senator, I want to ask you, because I actually do agree with your decision to keep government open. I think no one wins. It costs the economy billions of dollars. Federal workers are left in the lurch in a shutdown. But I'm a Republican. I'm not really your core constituency.
They're very nice. I have a lot of relatives who are Republicans.
There are many nice ones. But some of the progressive members of your caucus are not the House caucus are not with you. Jasmine Crockett questioned your leadership. Hakeem Jeffries dodged a question about your alignment over this and obviously voted the other direction. There seems to be a disconnect between the younger generation and some of the newly elected Democrats and yours. Do you believe that the party has confidence in you to continue to serve as its leader? And as somebody who is influential in helping Biden's decision to step aside, do you think it might be time for you to?
No. I think that, my Senate first, you asked who's the leader. When we don't have a president, there are a lot of leaders. We have a lot of really strong talent in the Senate, in the House, in the governors. We have a great bench. But as for the Senate caucus, of which...
I have to say, he really keeps bothering me when he keeps going like this. Chuck, calm down.
When we don't have a president, there are a lot of leaders. We have a lot of really strong talent in the Senate, in the House, in the governors. We have a great bench. But as for the Senate caucus, of which I'm the leader, I should be the leader. And let me just say this. One of the things I am known to be very good at is how to win Senate seats. In other words, I'm a strategist in terms of recruiting candidates, helping the candidates run campaigns and win it. Look, winning in 2026 in the House and Senate, which could stop Trump once and for all, is vitally important. Okay, so I did this in 2005, but just recently, in 2020, everyone said they'll never get the Senate. And we pulled off something that many people regarded as a huge surprise. We won the 2 seats in Georgia. We got John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, the first African-American ever elected in Georgia in 100 years, or a long period of time. And so I am good at that. But second, I'm sort of the orchestra leader, and I have a lot of talent in that orchestra. So what I do is I show them off. We have some great spokespeople, people like Chris Murphy and Brian Schatz.
Right.
We have, Democrats are learning to do the digital social media much better than we did before. I put Cory Booker and Tina Smith in charge. And then we have Bernie going out to Republican areas and doing rallies and rallying. So we have a load of talent in our caucus, and I'll tell you one thing. We are totally united in one thing. Many things, but one thing above all. We are united in going after Trump and showing the American people that he is making the middle class pay for the tax cuts on the rich.
Right.
Today we're doing it on Medicaid. We're going to do it very soon on the tariffs. He wants to put these tariffs in. It's going to raise you folks, the average family, $22,000 a year for these tariffs. Why is he doing that? Something so stupid.
Why?
He wants to use that money for tax cuts for the billionaires. The Republican Party is a different kettle of fish than it used to be, and that's why we're fighting them so hard. They are controlled by a small group of wealthy, greedy people. And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people. A barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
What?
Governor Pritzker's chief of staff, Ann Caprara, has said the following. The fight going on in the Democratic Party right now is not between hard left, right, and moderate. It's between those who want to fight and those who want to cave. And it gives me no pleasure to say this to you because we are friends, but I think you caved. I think you and 9 other Democrats caved. I don't think you showed the fight that this party needs right now because you're playing by a rule book where the other party has thrown that rule book away.
True.
And so in my view, what you did really was in supporting that GOP partisan bill that Democrats had no input in, you cleared the way for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to gut Social Security, to gut Medicare, to gut Medicaid. Why did you lead Democratic senators to play by that book that the Republicans are not playing by?
Okay, first, I'd say, Sonny, no one wants to fight more than me, and no one fights more than me. You got to fight smart. It is not true. That bill had far less it was bad. I hated it. But it does far less damage to Social Security. Medicare, Medicaid are far more susceptible to being eliminated, which is what that horrible Musk. Can you imagine this guy Musk, a billionaire, saying $1,100 for a senior citizen is not necessary,
But aren't
or
there
a Ponzi
cuts
scheme?
in that bill?
There are many fewer cuts in that bill than that would be in a shutdown.
But they
it was
still
a bad choice.
exist.
So we got to. Yes, they exist. But
You
if
have
you
to
have
work with
two,
the cards
if
you
you have 2 choices, one bad, the other devastating. One chops off one of your fingers, the other chops off your arm.
That's right.
So I want to fight, and we are fighting. We're going to fight every day on this, every day. Today, we're fighting them on Medicaid. Tomorrow, we're going to fight them on, the next few days on tariffs. We're going to fight them on Social Security. But I want to win and fight smart.
Yes.
Not just, I understand, we want to stick it to them.
Okay,
we're going to stick it to them and fight smart and win.
Okay.
Senator, I want to talk to you about your book.
Yes,
because you're
thank
here
you.
to talk about this, a new book, Anti-Semitism in America, A Warning. Now, as the highest-ranking Jewish official in the U.S., this is clearly
Ever, by the way, ever.
Ever.
Who would have thought? An exterminator's son.
But It's very personal to you.
It is.
Why are you writing it now?
Okay, good. So I was born in 1950, and it was sort of called the golden era for Jews in America and in our whole history, because first America was all moving up. You know, my father, my grandpa worked in the paper mills. My father moved up and became a little more in the middle class. Everyone was. So that was a great moment.
The rest of this is just about a stupid book. That's the only reason that he came on to The View, because they roasted him yesterday, and he still agreed to come on because he wants to push this book. But I love watching the left eat the left, and that's exactly what's going on right now. There's more infighting in the Democrat Party than I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think it's great. They're setting themselves up for major failure in 2026, and I look forward to it. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me at the lounge. Bobby D here. See you next time.